people strive to be happy, but research shows the human brain is not designed for happiness. It evolved to default to the negative in order to survive. So happiness actually takes work. There are no shortcuts, but there are ways to find enjoyment and keep negativity from taking a toll on your mental health. Here to help us out is licensed psychotherapist Heather Hans. Good morning, Heather.
Good morning, Corey. Nice to be with you today.
Always nice to have you join us. This is top of mind, I know, for so many people. What is it that makes people happiest?
Yes, we all want to know that. And one of the leading research studies on happiness found that it doesn't come from relaxing or basking in wealth or fame or privilege, but instead it involves stretching your mind or body to the limits in order to accomplish something difficult or worthwhile. So it's different than passive pleasure. It's an active state. And people who most enjoy what they do report not even feeling happy while they're doing it because that would be a distraction to their concentration.
Oh my gosh, how interesting is that? So how can people find what they most enjoy doing?
Sure, there are several ways, and one of them is to focus on your whole well-being. Tal Ben-Shahar is a happiness researcher who created the most popular course ever taught at Harvard, and he describes happiness as the experience of whole person well-being. So life is too complex to be perfectly balanced and happy or healthy at all times, but making your physical, mental, and spiritual well-being your top priority does lead to a happier life. Another thing to do is find what causes you to lose track of time or distort your sense of time, because people who love what they do feel like time goes by either faster or slower than it seems. So notice when you're more concentrated or when you're focused more than other times. And if it happens in certain environments, ask yourself, what can I talk about, read about, or do that causes me to lose track of the clock? If you could solve any problem, what would it be? And then a third tip is to notice what you enjoy doing for the sake of it rather than the end result, because so much of what we do is not because we enjoy it, but to get to some future goal. So in many respects, the key to a happy life is being engrossed in everyday activities. But to narrow it down, think about hobbies, look up classes just to see what topics interest you, and also notice what you're willing to splurge money on. All those things can help.
Yes, I love the first one about focusing on the whole well-being, that you're like physical and mental, everything has to come together and work together to be so happy. So what can people specifically, how can they find a career that they're really going to enjoy and find happiness in?
Yes, that is so important. I suggest that people look at what they've been sought out for, both personally and professionally over the years, what they've been complimented on. Also, what's been your biggest heartache in life? Because you probably had to learn a lot to go through it and have a lot to offer. And it is very important to have your heart invested in your work. And then there's the $5 million question, where if you were given that amount of money, but you had to use it towards work of some kind, what would you do and why? So I hope these questions can help people find some happiness.
We literally had that conversation last week because of the Powerball, and we're like, what would you do? Would you quit your job and do something else, or would you stay? And I feel like that's very telling. You know, if you're like, even if I won $600 million, I'd still do what I'm doing.
Yes, exactly. It's an important question to make sure that you're in your integrity.
Yes, if you love what you're doing, you don't work a day in your life. And as you were saying, time can go by so quickly for you, but you got to figure out what that is. And that can be a process for sure. Heather, thank you.
That's right. Thank you so much.